Soft music plays over a montage of a glowing bride and groom. Ivy Rhodes in lace and pearls laughs beneath a shower of rose petals. Daniel Rhodes, tall and composed, whispers something that makes her eyes crinkle with joy. The guests applaud. Champagne flutes clink. Detective Nora Hale, voiceover. Everyone said they were perfect. The kind of couple you only see in magazines. Daniel and Ivy Rhodes. Wealthy, beautiful, charitable. If you looked at their wedding video, you'd swear you were watching a fairy tale. The footage fades. The music distorts, a faint static creeping in as the image dissolves into the cold blue of police lights. The same house years later, wrapped in yellow tape. Flashbulbs replace sparklers. A crime scene replaces a honeymoon home. Nora, VO. But fairy tales don't end like this. Cut to exterior, Rhodes Estate. Present day. Reporters stand in the drizzle, their umbrellas trembling under the wind. The house looms behind them, stone, glass, and secrets. A reporter's voice overlays the scene. Police have confirmed the disappearance of Ivy Rhodes, wife of local philanthropist Daniel Rhodes, after what neighbors described as a night of laughter and music. Interview. Neighbor, Mrs. Alcott, 68. She was radiant that night. We could hear them laughing from the patio. You'd think it was an anniversary party, not whatever this turned into. I waved goodbye around 9. She waved back. And that was the last time anyone saw her. The screen flickers. Still photographs of Ivy at various galas, ribbon cuttings, charity drives. Always smiling. Always on Daniel's arm. Nora, VO. They were the golden couple of Fairview Heights. He ran Rhodes Industries, the kind of empire built on old money and new ambition. She turned their influence into something warmer. Shelters, scholarships, food drives. If Daniel was the name, Ivy was the heart. But behind the perfection, something dark pulsed. Cut to Detective Hale's office, night stacks of case files. A corkboard lined with photographs. Ivy in white, Daniel in tuxedo, their mansion, a map marked with red pins. Nora's voice is steady, but the weariness laces through. Nora, VO. I first got the call at 6:17 a.m. Daniel said his wife never came home, said she'd gone for a walk after dinner, left her phone, her keys, her shoes. Nothing about that sounded right. The sound of rain against the window deepens. Reconstruction footage. The night of Ivy's disappearance. Inside the Rhodes dining room. Candles half melted. A record player still spinning. 2 wine glasses, one smudged with lipstick. A dropped napkin like a white flag. Forensic narration, overlay. No sign of forced entry. No struggle. No blood. Interview, Officer Patel. We thought maybe she left voluntarily. Happens more than you'd think. But something about his tone. It was calm. Too calm. Footage of Daniel's first press conference plays. His voice trembles in all the right places. If anyone has seen my wife, please help us bring her home. The clip pauses on his expression. Grief frozen mid-frame. Nora, VO. Publicly, he was a grieving husband. Privately, he refused to let us search the lake behind the property. Said Ivy hated water, but the diary we found told a different story. Cut to evidence photo, Ivy's diary. Leather-bound, initials embossed in gold. The pages flutter in slow motion. Nora, VO. Her last entry read, "He promised me forever." I didn't know forever meant this. Interview, Ivy's friend, Leah. She'd been different lately, distant. She told me she felt like she was living inside their wedding day, like Daniel wouldn't let it end. Their anniversary parties got strange, same playlist, same vows, same cake, every year. Montage, annual wedding parties, footage from friends' phones. Daniel and Ivy reenacting their first dance, guests cheering. Ivy's smile, perfect but brittle. The same white dress. The same bouquet. Leah, interview. It wasn't a celebration. It was a performance. For him. Nora, VO. The more we dug, the more it looked like control dressed up as devotion. He tracked her calls, her spending, even her steps. A man obsessed not with love, but ownership. Cut to the lake, early morning. Detectives stand by the water's edge. Fog curls over the surface. A diver's flashlight glows faintly below. Forensic officer off camera. We found something. A moment of silence. Then, the sound of metal scraping wood. A jewelry box sealed shut. Inside, a single photograph from their wedding, edges burned. Nora, VO. She vanished, but the story of their marriage, that never ended. It kept repeating like a broken record. Every clue circled back to that day. Interview, journalist Harper Dean. Everyone wanted to believe in the Rhodes. They were proof that money and beauty could buy happiness. But when a story looks too polished, it's because someone edited out the truth. Archival clip. Wedding vows. Daniel's voice. Rich and calm. Forever begins today. The words echo. Distorted. Blending into the hum of police radios. Cut to Detective Hale closing the case file. Nora, VO. Forever did begin that day, and for Ivy Rhodes it never ended. Fade out, ominous music rising. Opening shot, Rhodes estate morning after Ivy's disappearance. Mist rolls off the lawn. A police cruiser idles by the driveway. The same mansion that once hosted charity galas now sits silent, its grandeur suffocating. Detective Nora Hale, voiceover. When a woman goes missing, the first 24 hours decide everything. Daniel Rhodes called it in at 6:17 a.m. He said his wife took a walk after dinner and never came home. But nothing about that timeline fit. The footage cuts to body cam video, officers stepping through gleaming marble floors. Every light is on. The kitchen counters sparkle, too clean. A faint scent of bleach lingers in the air. Forensic officer off camera. You could eat off these floors. Looks like someone was expecting company. Nora, VO. It didn't look lived in. It looked staged. Every glass in its place. Every frame dusted, like a showroom trying too hard to be a home. Interview, Officer Patel. Her car was still in the driveway, keys inside. Purse on the counter. Phone locked and factory reset. It's like she vanished mid-sentence. Cut to a photograph, Ivy's phone in an evidence bag. The reflection of a detective's flashlight glints across the black screen. Nora, VO. Who wipes a phone before disappearing? Not a scared wife running for her life. Someone wanted her silence. Archival footage. Daniel's first public statement. Daniel stands before reporters, hands trembling, voice catching just enough to sound authentic. If anyone has seen Ivy, please help us bring her home. Freeze frame on his expression, glassy-eyed, perfectly measured grief. Nora, VO. The press called him the heartbroken husband, but grief doesn't rehearse. His cracked voice sounded less like pain and more like performance. Interview, journalist Harper Dean. He knew how to play the camera. A pause here, a sigh there. The man sold sincerity like it was another one of his investments. The shot lingers on Daniel hugging Ivy's mother outside the estate. His hand rests on her shoulder, but his eyes wander toward the cameras. Cut to police evidence board. A timeline unfolds. 7:42 p.m. Dinner. 8:13 neighbor hears laughter. 9:02 Ivy last seen waving from patio. 9:47 Daniel calls security system tech. Shows 17 a.m. 911 call. Nora, VO. That 10-hour window, empty. No movement on the house cameras. The footage Daniel provided was conveniently missing a section. Interview, tech analyst Maria Chen. 4 cameras offline from 9:30 to midnight. System logs wiped. Someone accessed it locally, not remotely. From inside, cut to a slow pan across the Rhodes living room. The pristine couch, the faint outline of something missing. A rug. Nora, VO. You learned to see absence. A missing rug. A faint drag mark beneath polished tile. Signs of something moved. Or someone. Reenactment, detectives in the dining room. Flashlights sweep across gleaming surfaces. Under blacklight, faint streaks bloom in ultraviolet. Forensic narration. Chemical traces consistent with cleaning agents and trace hemoglobin. Nora, VO. In other words, someone cleaned up blood. The screen flickers between crime scene photos. A single earring beneath the table. The faint outline of a circle where a vase once stood. Interview. Lila Bennett, Ivy's best friend. She was done. She told me she was leaving him. She had a bag packed. Said she'd finally found a place. Cut to Nora reviewing Ivy's diary. Pages marked with pressed flowers and half-erased sentences. Nora, VO. Ivy wrote like someone making peace with escape. Tomorrow I'll breathe again, she wrote. Tomorrow I'll be free. But tomorrow never came. Archival clip, anniversary footage, year 4. Daniel and Ivy at another wedding celebration. Guests cheer as he feeds her cake. She flinches when frosting smears her cheek. The moment passes, laughter forced. Lila, interview. He wouldn't let her cut her hair, change her perfume, wear anything but white on anniversaries. He said it kept their love pure. She called it a prison. The music swells. Low piano, uneasy. Nora, VO. Control doesn't always look violent. Sometimes it looks like devotion. Sometimes it sounds like forever. Cut to a police interview room. Daniel sits beneath harsh fluorescent light, sleeves rolled, voice calm. Daniel, on tape. We were happy. She was fragile sometimes, but who isn't? Maybe she needed space. Nora, VO. He never said I, only we. We were happy. We had everything. He spoke like she was still part of him, not missing, not gone. Just misplaced. The camera pans across the interview tape counter. Time runs in slow-ticking seconds. Interview Officer Patel. He kept calling her phone during the interview, like he wanted us to see, but the number was disconnected. It was all theater. Cut to evidence room. Detectives bag the missing rug fibers. A faint smear of something darker. Nora, VO. Forensics confirmed what instinct already knew. Ivy didn't walk away. Someone erased her. Carefully. Methodically. Like rewriting a story from the end backward. Montage. Community search footage. Volunteers in bright vests, flashlights sweeping woods. Daniel walks ahead of the group calling her name. Cameras follow. Reporter off camera. Daniel Rhodes continues to assist police in the search for his missing wife. Freeze frame. Daniel glances straight at the lens. Nora, VO. He wanted an audience. He always did. Interview, Harper Dean. You could feel it. The performance. The rehearsed tears, the posture. He wasn't mourning her. He was managing the narrative. Cut to Nora's office late night. Rain blurs the window. Nora pins Ivy's photograph beside Daniel's. The board glows under lamplight. Strings, notes, unanswered questions. Nora, VO. Every detail screamed control. Every silence guilt. But proof, and that was missing too. Like Ivy herself. She closes the case file halfway, eyes lingering on the wedding photo. Nora, VO. She wanted to leave him. She just never got the chance. And the longer she stayed gone, the more his version became truth. Fade out. Somber music builds. Opening shot, Rhodes Estate 3 days after the search. Dawn breaks cold and gray. Detectives move through the silent house, their footsteps echoing across marble. Flashlights sweep the walls, catching glints of glass in the molding. Detective Nora Hale, voiceover. When you walk into a crime scene enough times, you start to feel the eyes that aren't supposed to be there. An officer pries open a wall panel. Behind it, a tiny black lens. Then another, and another forensic officer. There's one in the hallway, 2 in the living room, 1 facing the bed. Nora, VO. Hidden cameras. Dozens of them. All installed by Daniel Rhodes. Cut to evidence lab. A row of labeled drives sits under harsh light. The team connects the first to a monitor. Static, then a clear picture. Ivy arranging flowers in the kitchen. She hums softly. In the corner of the frame, the red recording dot blinks. Nora, VO. He watched everything. Every meal, every phone call, every breath, except one room, the basement. The only place without a camera. The footage cycles through rooms. Ivy reading by the window. Ivy painting in her studio. Ivy staring into space for long minutes. Motionless. Nora, VO. At first it looked ordinary. Domestic life. But when you watch long enough, the pattern changes. Her smile shortens. Her laughter thins. In every frame, Ivy's freedom shrinks. Interview, tech analyst Maria Chen. Each camera was wired to a private server. No cloud backup. He didn't want anyone else seeing what he saw. That's not home security. That's possession. Archival audio. Daniel Rhodes in a charity interview. Daniel's voice plays over footage of him shaking hands at a fundraiser. Privacy is sacred in our home, he says with a charming smile. Nora, VO. Privacy, he said the word like it was currency, but for Ivy it was a myth. Reconstructed scene, footage from the kitchen camera. Timestamp, 7:14 p.m. Ivy sits at the table. Daniel enters, pours wine. She flinches when the glass brushes her hand. Daniel, on recording. Don't forget to smile when the guests arrive. She nods. Voice barely audible, always. Nora, VO. Control disguised as charm. Every sentence rehearsed, every gesture timed. He wasn't just her husband, he was her director. The next clip jumps to midnight. Ivy alone, whispering into her phone. Her eyes dart to the ceiling. Ivy, on footage, whispering. He checks the calls. Please don't text me. The image freezes on her expression. Terror camouflaged as calm. Interview, Lila Bennett. She told me once, I feel like the walls remember what I do. I thought she was exaggerating. Turns out she was right. Cut to basement door footage. The final camera in the hallway shows Ivy standing before a closed door. She hesitates, glances behind her, then descends. The timestamp, 9:11 p.m., the night she vanished. Nora, VO. Every other room had eyes. But the basement, silence, like the story ended at that door. Interview, Officer Patel. When we pulled the DVRs, the sequence cuts right there. 11 minutes missing. Exactly 11. Cut to Nora at her desk. Night. Monitors glow blue against her face. She watches Ivy's image fade, replaying the same frames. Over and over, Nora, VO. You start to learn people through their footage. The way they pour coffee. The way they look when they think no one's watching. Ivy looked like someone waiting for a signal that never came. A soft knock. Officer Patel enters holding a small box. Inside, a shattered camera lens. Patel. Found this behind a shelf in the basement stairs. Looks like it was ripped out. Nora, VO. Someone didn't want that angle recorded. Cut to forensics room. Technicians scrub the damaged drive, pixels fluttering across the screen. A ghostly frame emerges. A flash of light, a shadow crossing the lens, then static. Forensic narration. The fragment shows movement at 9:23 p.m., consistent with two figures. Nora, VO. Two people. One of them never came back up. Interview, Harper Dean, journalist. It's the paradox of surveillance. He watched everything and still missed what mattered. Or maybe he didn't miss it. Maybe he made sure no one else could see. Archival footage, Daniel Rhodes in his study. A separate clip recovered from his personal computer. Daniel at his desk, reviewing footage of Ivy cleaning the living room. He pauses, zooms in, rewinds. A small smile crosses his face. Nora, VO. He replayed her like a memory he owned. Love turned into evidence. Cut to an interview room. Nora confronts Daniel with the discovery. Nora. Why the cameras, Daniel? Daniel, for safety. The world's dangerous. Nora. So dangerous you had to record your wife sleeping? He laughs softly. She liked being admired. The silence that follows is heavier than any confession. Reconstruction. Basement stairs. A beam of light slides down the steps. The camera pans across concrete, an empty wine rack, dust, faint marks on the floor. Nora, VO. No blood, no prints. But beneath the paint they found something else. Indentations from metal legs. A chair, a table, and restraints. Interview, forensic specialist. They'd been removed recently. You could still smell the polish, Nora, VO. The basement wasn't unfinished. It was erased. Montage, recovered footage sequence. Clips of Ivy moving through rooms dissolve faster and faster, smiling, glancing toward unseen lenses, then looking away. The sequence accelerates until the screen blacks out. Nora, VO. In every frame, her presence thinned. The woman in those videos, she's disappearing 1 pixel at a time. A brief pause. Then the faint hum of the final audio file. Ivy's voice, low, trembling. If you see this, it means he let it happen again. Nora, VO. That line wasn't in any diary. It lived only in the footage he forgot to delete. Cut to Nora and Patel outside the estate. The house looms behind them. Lights off, cameras dismantled. Patel, you think he recorded what happened down there? Nora, if he did, it's still somewhere. Houses like this don't stop watching. They look toward the basement windows, dark, reflective, unreadable. Fade to black, low music builds. Nora, VO. He built a home of mirrors, but somewhere inside the reflection is the truth. And the next place to look isn't the house, it's what lies beneath it. Opening shot, evidence board night. Pinned photographs fill the frame. Ivy smiling at charity galas, Daniel at podiums, flashbulbs blooming around them. Detective Nora Hale studies each image under the lamplight. One picture sits slightly askew, a detail her eyes keep returning to. Nora Hale, voiceover. When you look at enough photographs, patterns start whispering to you. Who stands closest? Who looks away? Who's always there? And who isn't supposed to be? She leans closer to the picture. The Rhodes Foundation Gala 2 years before Ivy's disappearance. Behind the crowd, a blurred, almost lost in the background, a woman with auburn hair. Not Ivy. Not anyone listed on the guest roster. Nora, VO. At first, I thought it was a trick of the light. But her face, I'd seen it before. Cut to archive footage 2010. Old newsreel footage rolls. A younger Daniel Rhodes and his then-fiancée, Aaron Blake, pose for photographers outside an art exhibit. Aaron laughs, brushing his shoulder as he whispers something in her ear. The caption reads, Tech heir Daniel Rhodes and fiancée Aaron Blake announce engagement. The segment ends abruptly. The next frame. Local woman missing after weekend trip. Nora, VO. Aaron Blake vanished 3 months before their wedding. No body, no note. Case went cold. But the timing, the expressions, it was like watching the same story restart with a different actress. Interview. Journalist Harper Dean. When Aaron disappeared, the family called it a tragedy. Daniel called it heartbreak. But the police never closed the file. There were inconsistencies. No one could prove anything. And then, he met Ivy. Cut to montage of photographs. Nora flips through the recovered images from Daniel and Ivy's events. Fundraisers, anniversaries, charity galas. The same guests rotate, the same decor, the same flawless smiles. And in 2 separate shots, that same woman, Erin, or someone who looks just like her, always standing at the edge of the frame. Nora, VO. The camera caught what memory forgot. Faces change, names fade, but patterns, they never lie. Interview. Lila Bennett. Ivy once said, "He's gentle until you disagree." She laughed after she said it, but not the kind of laugh that reaches the eyes. She told me Daniel didn't raise his voice, he just erased it. Like if you disappointed him, you'd stop existing in the room. Flashback, reconstructed scene, Ivy's perspective. Ivy in the kitchen, Daniel standing behind her. He adjusts her hand on a wine glass. Daniel, tilt it like this. You're shaking again. Ivy, I'm fine. Daniel, you're always fine until you're not. He smiles. A perfect practice smile. Nora, VO. He didn't need to yell. Control can sound like care if you whisper it softly enough. Cut to police database footage. Aaron Blake's case file scrolls across the screen. Missing 2010, last seen leaving Daniel Rhodes' lake property. Case suspended for lack of evidence. Officer Patel. She disappeared from the same area Ivy did. Different decade, same radius. Coincidence? Maybe once. Not twice, Nora, VO. 2 women, same man. Same story written in different ink. Interview, Aaron's sister, Melissa Blake. He said she ran off after a fight. He even called to check if she'd come home. I believed him at first. Then he stopped calling. Like he wanted her gone as neatly as she vanished. Photographs of Aaron and Ivy are shown side by side. Their features overlap in eerie symmetry. Same hair color, same posture, same style of dress in Daniel's presence. Nora, VO. Aaron looked like Ivy before Ivy learned how to be perfect. Maybe that's what he wanted. Not love, but replication. Cut to Daniel's office footage, recovered. A monitor glows. On the screen, slideshow images of Ivy smiling. The folder title reads, EB Archive, Forensic Tech, Off Camera. He mislabeled them, but the file dates go back before Ivy even met him. Nora, VO. He didn't just keep memories. He recycled them. Interview, Harper Dean. I've covered predators who collect things. Letters, jewelry, locks of hair. But Daniel collected people. He built women like sculptures, piece by piece, until they matched the shape of the one who got away. Reenactment. The basement. Flashback sequence. Ivy stands at the foot of the stairs glancing at something off screen. Her voice trembles. Who is she? Daniel's response, calm, chilling. Someone who understood me better than you ever tried to. The screen cuts to black. Nora, VO. That audio was recovered from a damaged camera mic. It confirmed what we already feared. Ivy found out about Aaron, and maybe that's why she never made it out. Interview, Lila Bennett. She called me that night. Said she'd seen something in the basement. She didn't say what. Just that it made everything make sense. Nora, VO. Maybe it was a recording. Maybe it was a photograph. Or maybe it was Aaron herself, frozen in the one frame Daniel couldn't delete. Cut to Casa Forensics room. Technicians compare timestamps from Ivy's footage and Aaron's case files. Dates overlap. Footage labeled as security turns out to be recorded years before Ivy moved in. Patel. He reused the tapes. Overwrote them. But fragments remain. Aaron walking through the same hallway Ivy did, same angle, same lighting. The walls remember. Nora, VO. In every frame, history repeats. You can almost hear it breathing through the static. Montage. Slow crossfade sequence. Aaron's smile fading into Ivy's. Daniel's arm around both women in identical poses. Applause echoing through time. Nora, VO. If Ivy was his last victim, Aaron was his first. But the line between them isn't time, it's obsession. Cut to meeting in the present day, Nora's desk. Pinned side by side, Aaron's missing poster and Ivy's wedding photo. Nora circles the same lake on both case maps. Nora, VO. They both disappeared near the same water. The lake that mirrors his home. Maybe the truth isn't buried in the past and maybe it's still looking back. Fade to black. Subtle music undercurrent. Nora, VO. Two women, one man, one story told twice. But only one ending can surface. Opening shot, interrogation room, 7:42 a.m. A sterile space. Pale walls. A single red recording light blinks. Daniel Rhodes sits across from Detective Nora Hale, his reflection doubling in the glass. He looks smaller than before, or maybe just stripped of his audience. Nora, VO. For months, Daniel controlled the story. The charming husband. The heartbroken victim. But the lake rewrote his script, and this was his final performance. The camera zooms in on his hands folded neatly, trembling at the edges. A faint smile flickers, then disappears. Nora. You asked for this interview. Why now? Daniel. Because I don't like being misunderstood. Cut to Nora's notebook. Audio recorder running. The timestamp flashes July 9th, 10:12 a.m. Daniel. Everyone keeps saying murder. That's not what this was. I loved her. I saved her, VO. He wasn't denying what he'd done. He was redefining it. Intercut archival footage, home videos Daniel and Ivy on their anniversary. She laughs nervously as he toasts, to forever. His arm lingers too tightly around her shoulders. Nora, VO. He told her forever was a promise. But for him, forever was a cage. Back in the interview room, Daniel leans forward, voice low. Daniel, you ever love someone so much you can't let them destroy themselves? Ivy, she was leaving. She was sick with the idea that she could live without me. I had to protect her from that. Nora's pen pauses mid-scribble. The air hums with the faint buzz of the light above. Nora. Protect her by ending her life? Daniel. No. He smiles faintly. By ending her fear. Cut to Nora, VO, over evidence board. Control was his vocabulary for love. Possession his form of protection. He didn't see murder, only maintenance. Pinned across the wall. Ivy's diary entries, Aaron Blake's missing posters, stills from surveillance footage. In every photo, Daniel is close, always touching, always framing. Playback, Ivy's private recording number 3 static. Then Ivy's whisper, he told me love means never leaving. But I'm suffocating inside his forever. Her voice breaks. If something happens to me, don't believe the smile. The tape clicks off. Nora, VO. Those tapes were recorded weeks before she vanished. Hidden in her makeup drawer. The only place he didn't check. Cut to Nora, interview footage. Her tone sharpens. Daniel, you said you saved her. But the evidence says you planned this, the cameras, the lake house, the blood. He straightens, offended. Daniel, you think saving someone doesn't take planning? Montage, close-ups of the interview footage. Sweat gathers at his collar. His polished facade cracks fragments. He begins to pace. Nora, VO. The calm unravels. The charm collapses. What's left is the believer, preaching his gospel of control. Daniel. People act like love is freedom. It's not. It's choosing one person and staying chosen. She forgot that. Cut to a split screen, Daniel's interview versus Ivy's recordings. His voice overlaps hers. Daniel. I gave her peace. Ivy, tape. He watches me sleep. Says I look safest that way. Daniel. I gave her silence. Ivy. He doesn't like when I talk. Nora, VO. 2 languages, one of domination, one of fear. His confession wasn't to a crime but to devotion, twisted into violence. Interview, Dr. Raina Colt, criminal psychologist. He's not confessing guilt. He's confessing faith. To him, control equals care. The moment she resisted, she became something broken, something he had to fix. Archival and crime scene photos fade behind Dr. Colt's voice. Men like Daniel build sanctuaries of love that become tombs. Cut to Daniel's interview, hour 2. His voice slows. The veneer erodes completely, Daniel. I told her if you walk away, you'll disappear. I meant she'd lose herself. But she took it wrong. She always took things wrong. He glances toward the mirrored glass. Daniel. Now you all look at me like a monster. Maybe that's fair. But I only ever wanted her safe, Nora. Safe from what? He hesitates, almost whispers. From the part of her that wanted to leave. Nora, VO. In that moment, he confessed everything, without saying the word. Cut to evidence photo, Ivy's necklace, found at the lake. The chain glistens, caked with silt. Nora, VO. He'd called it her anchor, said it reminded her to stay. We found it around her wrist. Playback, a final segment of Ivy's recording. Soft crying. I think he wants to keep me the way I was when he first loved me. Perfect, quiet, still. Nora, VO. She understood before we did. She wasn't a wife. She was a reflection he refused to let move. Cut to Daniel's last words on tape. He leans close to the microphone. Daniel, tell them I didn't kill her. I kept her, a pause. Daniel, you don't bury love. You preserve it, the recording stops. Silence fills the frame. Transition. Nora closing the case file. The folder shuts with a quiet snap. Rain taps the window outside the precinct, Nora, VO. Confession isn't closure. It's just another version of the story and one that ends where he wants it to. She stands, watching the red recording light flicker off. Nora, VO. But there was still one thing missing. One voice we hadn't heard. Cut to storage room, night boxes stacked high. A label catches the light. Recovered footage, Rhodes' basement. The camera lingers as Nora pulls the tape out, dust rising like smoke. Nora, VO. The basement. The only room Daniel didn't record, or so we thought. The screen cuts to black. Opening shot. The lake at dawn. The surface lies still, mirror bright, reflecting the Rhodes estate on the opposite shore. A fog drifts low, heavy as breath. The sound of a single motor hums across the water as police boats move into position. Detective Nora Hale, voiceover. Every love story leaves a trace. Sometimes it's a photograph. Sometimes it's a grave. The camera pans toward the dock, wood warped by years of weather and secrets. Yellow tape flutters in the wind. Cut to Oz police garage, day forensic lights sweep across Daniel Rhodes's luxury sedan. The trunk yawns open. Technicians swab the interior lining. Forensic officer, off camera. We've got partial blood traces under the carpet. Nora, VO. DNA confirmed it belonged to Ivy Rhodes. Daniel called it a minor accident. But blood doesn't hide that well. He told reporters he'd cut himself unloading garden tools. Yet the stain pattern arcs outward. Spray, not drip. Nora, VO. There's a difference between spilling and cleaning. He'd done both. Archival footage, Daniel's press conference. Daniel stands at a podium, crisp suit, weary eyes. Cameras click. Daniel, my wife was everything to me. I still believe she's alive. He pauses, jaw tightening. The performance flickers. Nora, VO. He was still auditioning for sympathy, but his alibi couldn't hold its own spotlight. Interview, Officer Patel. He said he was in the city that weekend, but his toll records show he left Friday night. Straight to the lake house, cut to aerial footage of the lake house. A cedar-framed cabin nested between pines. Windows dark, driveway empty. Nora, VO. He called it their safe haven, a place without noise, without questions. That's where he took her whenever she wanted to leave. Inside, dust motes swirl through flashlight beams, a wine glass on the counter. 2 chairs by the fire, only one with recent ash beneath it. Patel, off camera. It's like she never got to finish the night. Interview, Lila Bennett. She hated that house. Said it felt like being buried alive. He called it their retreat. She called it his museum. Nora, VO. 3 weekends before she vanished. He told colleagues he was restoring the property. In truth, he was burying something else. Reconstruction. Nora and forensics searching the basement. They uncover ropes, sealed paint cans, a ledger listing supply purchases, plastic sheeting, concrete mix, bleach. Nora, VO. The same items used in Aaron Blake's unsolved case. The pattern continued right down to the receipts. Montage. Evidence comparison. Aaron's file beside Ivy's. Both missing after a weekend trip. Both last seen near water. Nora, VO. Different decades. Same destination. Cut to dive team preparing on dock. Wetsuits glisten under gray light. Oxygen tanks hiss. Dive. Captain. Visibility's low. Depth about 30 feet. Nora, VO. We'd searched that lake before. We just hadn't looked deep enough. Underwater footage. A diver descends through silt. Beams of light slice the darkness. Leaves drift like ghosts. A metallic glint appears in the corner of a tarp. The diver signals upward. Above, radios crackle. Forensic officer. We've got contact. Sending coordinates. The surface breaks. 2 black bundles rise, pulled gently toward the boat. Nora, VO. 2 bodies, bound together, as if he couldn't let one go without the other. Cut to shoreline moments later. Sheets cover the recovered forms. Investigators stand silent. Rain beginning to fall. Nora, VO. Ivy Rhodes and Aaron Blake, found in the same lake Daniel once called their forever. Interview, Harper Dean. It's poetic, in the most horrifying way. He built monuments to love that were really monuments to control. Forensics lift evidence, matching wedding rings, twined by wire, gleaming even through grime. Nora, VO. Their rings were bound together. Not romantic, ritual. A final tableau. Reenactment. Daniel at the lake house flashback. Firelight flickers. Daniel polishes a picture frame, Ivy's face behind glass. A faint reflection of another woman overlaps in the glass. Nora, VO. He couldn't tell them apart anymore. Love, loss, ownership, all blurred into the same obsession. Interview, criminal psychologist Dr. Raina Colt. People like Daniel don't fall in love. They curate it. When the illusion fractures, they destroy the evidence. Cut to an interrogation room. Daniel sits across from Nora. The hum of the fluorescent light fills the silence. Nora. We found them. He exhales, steady, almost relieved. Daniel. Then you found what I gave them. Eternity. Nora, VO. No denial. No fear, just pride. Like we'd finally appreciated his artwork. Archival audio. Nora narration over crime scene photos. The autopsy confirmed what we feared. Aaron died years before Ivy ever met him. He kept her preserved. And when Ivy discovered the truth, she joined her predecessor beneath the same water. Montage, forensic recovery sequence. Gloved hands place items into evidence bags. Hairbrush. Bracelet. A single torn photograph showing both women beside Daniel. His smile splitting the frame. Nora, VO. He'd posed with them both. Past and present in one shot. The ultimate symmetry. Interview. Officer Patel. He thought if he controlled the ending, no one would question the story. But bodies talk louder than words. Cut to a court steps press frenzy. Reporters swarm as Daniel is led away in cuffs. His expression is calm, almost satisfied. Cameras flash Nora, VO. He built a life on performance. Even in shackles, he found his spotlight. Archival clip, Ivy and Daniel's wedding footage. The first dance plays once more. Her dress glows white, his hand firm on her back. The image freezes mid-turn, Nora, VO. Forever, he said. And he meant it. Cut to Nora closing her notebook. Rain beats the window. The lake photo lies beside her notes. The reflection in the glass looks almost like movement beneath the surface. Nora, VO. The lake kept their secret, but water always gives back what it's owed. Now it's his turn to drown. In the truth he created. She sets down the photo, eyes distant. Nora, VO. But as the files closed, another question surfaced. What if Ivy wasn't the only one watching him? The camera pans to a box labeled Unprocessed Footage, Rhodes Estate. A new drive glints inside. Fade to black. Music rises softly, uneasy. Nora, VO. Every camera sees something. Every monster leaves a reflection. Opening shot. Streaming platform interface. A cursor hovers over the title card. What their perfect marriage was hiding all along. Click. A soft chime. A fade to black. Then Nora Hale's voice fills the darkness. Nora, VO. For every perfect picture, there's a corner that was cropped out. This story begins in that corner. Cut to a montage, press clips, news headlines. The Rhodes case, love, lies, and the lake. Detective-turned-filmmaker Nora Hale breaks her silence. A marriage made in heaven, or buried beneath it. Nora, VO. 1 year later, the case that haunted a city became the story that haunted everyone who watched. Scene, premiere night, City Theater. A packed auditorium glows in flickering light. Viewers sit motionless as the film plays. Ivy's laughter, Daniel's charm, the lake, the confession tape. Reporters crowd the red carpet outside, microphones pointed like weapons. Journalist, off camera. Detective Hale. Why make this public? Nora. Because silence already killed too many. Cut to interview montage from the documentary itself. Lila's face, filmed months earlier, her eyes red. Lila, we thought we were protecting love. But we were protecting the lie. Dr. Raina Colt appears next. Dr. Colt. The Rhodes marriage wasn't a tragedy. It was a reflection of what happens when obsession hides behind devotion. Cut to Nora editing room. Months before premiere. Monitors flicker with overlapping footage. Ivy brushing her hair. Daniel recording her. The basement feed showing a shadow moving behind him and someone unseen. Nora adjusts the volume, her reflection layered over Ivy's image. Nora, VO. For years, they looked like the couple everyone wanted to be. But the tapes showed something else. Two people trapped in the same performance, reading from a script they both helped write. She rewinds the frame. Ivy turns, smiles toward the hidden camera. For a moment, she almost looks aware. Nora, VO. She wasn't blind to the monster beside her. She just couldn't admit she'd helped create him. Cut to test screening reaction footage. Viewers weep, whisper, shake their heads. Audience member. I thought she was innocent. Now I don't know who to feel sorry for. Nora, VO. That was the point. Truth doesn't comfort. It complicates. Transition. Interview. Nora Hale, on camera. Sitting under soft light, her tone steady, almost weary. Nora. We want villains to be obvious, blood on their hands, eyes cold. But most monsters know how to smile. Some wear wedding rings. Montage. Documentary excerpts. The film moves through its chapters. The fairy tale wedding. The missing wife. The lake, the confession. The secret Lila kept. Each section bleeds into the next, mirroring the structure of a love story. Except this one ends in water. Nora, VO. It wasn't about proving guilt anymore. It was about showing how easily we worship perfection, even when it's rotting underneath. Cut to interview with Harper Dean, journalist. People wanted to believe in Daniel and Ivy because their love looked like a dream. It made them feel safe. The truth makes us feel small. Archival footage, Daniel's trial verdict. The gavel strikes. He receives a life sentence. Cameras flash. He smirks as if the lens still belongs to him. Nora, VO. Even in prison, he kept his posture, always performing. Maybe that's what frightened me most. He still believed it was love. Cut to Nora walking beside the lake, present day. Fog drifts across the surface. The ripples are faint, endless. Nora, VO. The lake never talks, but it remembers. And every story it swallows, it eventually gives back. She kneels by the water, drops a white lily onto the surface. The camera lingers as it floats outward. Transition. Streaming footage metrics. Screens across the world flicker with the documentary. Comments flood in real time. Unbelievable. They looked so happy. I see my own marriage in this and it terrifies me. Nora, VO. We crave perfect love stories, even when they kill us. Cut to wide behind the scenes. Nora, reviewing voiceover script. Her assistant reads a note aloud. End with a reminder, love isn't the villain, illusion is. Nora crosses out the last word, replaces it with possession. Nora, VO. They said love is patient, love is kind. But in that house, love was possession. And perfection was just the prettiest disguise for evil. Montage of the road's home, now abandoned, empty rooms. Dust-covered furniture, a cracked mirror in the hallway still reflecting two figures from a photograph taped to the wall. Ivy and Daniel. Frozen mid-laughter Nora, VO. When the lights go out, what remains isn't the image. It's the echo. The camera glides past the dining room, the piano, the staircase leading to the basement door, now sealed with evidence tape. Cut to the final scene of the documentary premiere. Applause swells, but Nora doesn't smile. She sits in the back row, her expression distant. Nora, VO. Every case I've worked ended with an arrest. But this one ended with a mirror. Every person who watches sees something of themselves. A moment they mistook control for care. Silence for peace. Archival audio, Ivy's last recording. Played during end credits. I used to think love meant staying no matter what. Now I know it means leaving before you disappear. The words fade under swelling strings. The final frame freezes. Ivy and Daniel on their wedding day, hands intertwined, smiles luminous. Nora, VO. They promised forever, and forever kept its promise. Cut to Adi post-release interviews 1 week later. Critics debate morality, ethics, voyeurism. Critic 1, she turned tragedy into art. Critic 2, or into confession. Nora, VO. People always ask why I told it this way. Why show every scar, every lie? Because pretending is how it started. The least we can do is end in truth. Scene: Nora at her office late night. The award nomination email glows on her screen. She doesn't open it. Instead, she scrolls to the footage archive. One file remains unopened. Basement camera alt feed 02. Her hand hovers over it. Nora, VO. The story was supposed to be over, but stories like this never really end. They just wait for someone else to press play. The cursor clicks. Static. Then movement in the dark. A woman's voice, faint, familiar. "I told you they'd never believe me." The screen cuts to black.